So for part 2, we're going to have to use the information from the first part of the problem. So how many grams of cesium are in 38.77 grams of compound? So we're given 38.77 grams of cesium iodide. So again, we're going to use factor unit conversion. Notice we're dealing with the compound. So now we need the compound molecular weight in the denominator, 259.80 grams of cesium iodide per 1 mole of cesium iodide. Anytime we're doing a conversion, we always have to convert to moles, because moles are the normalizing factor in those problems. So it's asking us to solve for cesium to begin with. So now we're at moles of cesium iodide. So for every 1 mole of cesium iodide, we have 1 mole of cesium, and we got that from this ratio here. Now if we start crossing out units, the grams go away, the moles of cesium iodide go away. Now we need a relationship between cesium and its atomic mass, so we go back to this relationship here. This time the moles have to cancel out, so 1 mole of cesium goes in the denominator and 132.90 grams goes in the numerator. So now the moles of cesium will cancel out and we're left with grams. So if we take 38.77 grams divided by 259.80 grams, and then multiply that by 132.90, you end up with 19.83 grams of cesium. So keep in mind your significant figures as you do these calculations. That's important as well. So the second part is asking how many grams of iodine. So you can do this 2 ways. The easiest way is simply taking 38.77 grams of compound. We've already determined that 19.83 of that gram, of that weight is cesium. So the remainder is going to be just subtracting that out to get 18.93 grams of iodine. But let's go through and verify that using the same calculations we did here. So again, we would start with 38.77 grams of cesium iodide. We set up our factor unit conversion. Again, same numerator and denominator this time. So we need moles of cesium iodide to cancel out. Now we're solving for iodine. We know from the ratio it's 1 mole of iodine. Now we're going to use this number 126.90, so 1 mole is on the bottom, so 1 mole of iodine. 126.90 grams of iodine. We go through, we see that grams of cesium iodide cancel out, moles of cesium iodide cancel out, moles of iodide cancel out, and we're left with the proper unit of quantity. So we can take 38.77 divided by 259.8. and then multiply by 126.90, we're going to get the same as we calculated before. really can't numerically and if you sum these two together, you'll see that you end up with what we started with, 38.77 grams of cesium iodide. So just to recap, this question is testing multiple concepts. Do we know what a compound is? Do we know what these individual elements are? How to identify them as metal versus non-metal? How to determine their atomic masses from the periodic table? In part 1, we figured out the ratio between the metal and the non-metal. We calculated the molecular weight using this molecular formula. And then in part 2, we used factor unit conversion to figure out how much